like, wow, it seems all goes smoothly. Pardon me.
Joe, are you ready? Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Genoa Township Board of Trustees meeting. This is a regular trustee meeting. Today's date is December 5th, 2024, and the time is 6:30 p.m. Pat, will you call the roll?
I will. Ms. Goodman?
Here.
Ms. Vaughn?
Here.
Trustee Vaughn, I ask that you excuse Trustee Antonez tonight due to a death in his family.
So moved. Do we need a second?
No.
No, we're good? Okay. Yes. Our condolences to Trustee Antonetz and his family. Also present, we have our Assistant Fiscal Officer and HR Director, Donna Batten, our Deputy Police Chief, James Denman, our Director of Road, Buildings and Grounds and Parks, Lauren Fitzpatrick, our Police Chief, James McMillan, our Fire Chief, Joseph Ponzi, our Director of Zoning and Development, Joseph Schaefer, and our Township Administrator, Paul Wise. At this time, I'd like everybody who is able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Lauren Fitzpatrick to lead us. Flag the whole time. You switch flags on us. Thanks, Lauren. Notice that halfway through. Oops. I'm going to turn it over to our Police Chief, James McMillan.
Good evening, Board, and thank you for letting us cut in line to knock out a couple of our requests tonight. So for about the past 6 months, we've been working through an evaluation for a promotional process. Per the police union contract, they're entitled to a written test and then an assessment center before we move on into internal evaluations. So we've been working through that, and we've completed all phases of the promotional process. And tonight, I would like to request from the Board 2 promotions. Both candidates were the top overall scores for their particular position, and I've been with the agency for a long time, so I am fortunate to have a history and knowledge of these candidates. And at the end of the evaluation process, the assessment center confirmed what I already knew, that the 2 candidates that I'm going to request to be promoted tonight were our best candidates for each particular position. So the first promotion I'll ask for a resolution on is to promote Officer Maxwell McCord to the position of sergeant. Max has been with us since October of 2020, and during that time, he's been a constant professional. Max has been an integral part of our recruitment and hiring team and recently completed his master's degree from Liberty University. Max has worked diligently to learn the role of being a patrol officer, which I think those skills will transition nice to the frontline supervisor. So tonight, I'm going to request the promotion be effective Sunday, December 8th, with a starting salary of $49.37, which is the step A step of the sergeant's contract of 2024.
Okay.
You want me to
Yeah,
request
go
the
ahead and do
lieutenant
the
too?
other one, I'll read them.
The second promotion I'm going to request is that Sergeant Emily Brees be promoted to the position of lieutenant. Emily started with us in May of 2015, and during that time, she's been a field training officer. She spent several years on our multi-jurisdictional SWAT team, has been an advocate for officer wellness, and is currently our peer support team leader. Emily's always acted in the best interest of the township and has been an asset to the township. Emily just completed her bachelor's degree from Tiffin University. So tonight, I'm going to request that Emily be promoted effective December 8th with a starting salary of $56.77, which is the lieutenant step A of the 2024 contract.
Okay, thank you. I will move to approve the promotion of Officer Maxwell McCord to the position of sergeant effective December 8th at the A-step rate of $49.37 per hour per the collective bargaining agreement. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. I'll then move to approve the promotion of Sergeant Emily Brees to the position of lieutenant effective December 8th at the A-step rate of $56.77 per hour per the collective bargaining agreement. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Maxwell? Do you have somebody here tonight you'd like to pin your badge on?
You want me to swear first?
Let's get prepared.
Let's have you stand against the wall. Is that what you want? I state your name.
I, Max McCord,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of police sergeant
of police sergeant
in Genoa Township,
in Genoa Township,
Delaware County,
Delaware County,
state of Ohio,
state of Ohio,
during the continuance of my employment.
during the continuance of my employment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Max, before you sit down, you want to introduce the family?
If you could by the microphone.
A lot of direction up here.
Green light. Green means go.
All right, sorry. So I'm joined by a lot of my family. I have my father, Martin Ford, my mom, Stephanie, brother, Caleb, brother, Caden, brother, Mason, his wife, Liz, and their son, Colton, my wife, Maggie, my sister-in-law, Aggie, Eliza, Ella, somewhere in there, and then my mother and father-in-law, Nico and Stacy.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
like for you to introduce your family too at the moment.
So I have my mom and dad here, my niece, and then my wife, Brooke.
Give them a break, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we always give you guys 90 seconds to get out before we start into an hour-long presentation on cameras. After 90 seconds, doors locked. No, I got you coming down to at least 45 minutes. I was speed talking.
No. No one will ever knows.
So we're just bad.
All right, very good. That is a quieter crowd than normal. So we'll go ahead.
Fortunately, it's at least each one of their second go around.
Yeah. All right, we will open it up to public comment. If you would like to speak, I just ask that you come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Anyone here for public comment? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment, and we will move to trustee comments.
I have nothing, thank you.
I have just a couple things. One, I attended an Ohio Township Association board meeting in November, and on the agenda was to discuss the OPWC, which we've talked about before. And it was I just found the conversation interesting that it's very rare for townships to receive OPWC grant money. I was shocked because that is not the case in Genoa Township. So I just want to give kudos to everyone who's involved with OPWC grants, and that would be our county engineer, Chris Bowserman, and his staff, our grant writer, Jim Barna, our administrator, Paul Wise, roads director, Lauren Fitzpatrick, and our former roads director, Bob Matthews, because this is not new. Genoa Township has historically gotten grants from OPWC, but so I just, this is something that Genoa Township is doing really well at, so I just wanted to call that out. Also, last meeting in November, I had talked about lame duck, and over the weekend, those trustees, fiscal officers, anybody involved in the Ohio Township Association were alerted that there was a possible amendment to Senate Bill 62, which happens to be our Senator Andy Brenner's bill. And this would eliminate townships, villages, and cities' ability to vote for health directors, board members. So the Board of Health board members in every county. And I have reached out to all of our representatives because I don't think this is a good amendment, because the townships and municipalities pay into the health district, and I feel strongly that if you pay into it, you should get to vote. There is a push to move this vote to just the county commissioners at this point. I did reach out to Andy Brenner, and he said at least Monday, he was not in favor of adding it to his bill, so I don't know where it stands. I don't know if anybody has an update. And then, I think that's it. Paul, you look like you were going to say something on that. No, you're good.
I'm just saying Todd is here from the Health District.
Oh, yes.
So he'll take that message back to his superior.
Well, I've been in touch with the health commissioner. We spoke on Sunday, and yeah, there was a big push. I'm hopeful that that won't pass. And that's all I have. So we will turn it over to Pat in the fiscal officer report.
Okay, a few things. First, I would ask approval of trustee meeting minutes of November 7th, 2024.
I will move to approve the November 7th, 2024 regular trustee meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Next, I'll have for your review and signature afterwards the October and November financials. As far as end of month, November, total balance is $28,339,325.37. And the way that breaks out is $19,596,340.16 Fifth Third Investments, $7,204,101.91 in the Star Ohio account, and then a primary account of $1,538,883.30. Appears everything's reconciled and cleared, and I'll have it for your review and signature. Next, a couple appropriation amendments. If I would ask that we do a permanent appropriation amendment for the Bond Police Station Fund, increasing from $133,827 to $163,250.
I will move to approve the following 2024 permanent appropriation amendments. The Bond Police Station Fund interest increase from $133,827 to $163,250. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Goodman.
yes.
Ms. Vaughn.
Yes, motion carries.
And then I have two purchase orders, please approve. One for Bureau of Workers' Compensation, the amount of $105,377 for the 2025 workers' compensation premiums, and to Zion's First National Bank in the amount of $29,449.73 for the bond interest payment.
Okay, I will move to approve the following purchase orders. The BWC in the amount of $105,377 for the 2025 workers' compensation premiums. Zion's First National Bank in the amount of $29,449,073 for the bond interest. Do I have a second?
Second, but I think that was 29,000, not 29 million.
Oh, thank you.
That'd be a lot of interest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
So,
will
with
amend
that-
it, $29,449.73.
And I'll second the amended.
Thank you for, roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Next, I have a couple resolutions authorizing expenditures from American Rescue Plan funds. As we know, these need to be appropriated by the end of this year, spent by the end of next year, end of '25. But we have to.
26.
That's right, it's 26.
26.
I keep
But go
thinking
ahead.
25. But yeah, it is 26, actually. But they have to be appropriated for specific purpose by the end of this year.
Yep.
So the first one is $387,000 to be put toward the Sutphen aerial ladder truck that we had talked about earlier, much earlier with Joe, but we want to appropriate that money today. So that resolution's in front of you as presented.
Yes, since it's a 3+ page resolution, I will move to authorize the expenditure from the American Rescue Plan Act funds as presented. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
The second one is, let me get to it. Is it the two? I'm missing one here.
No. They all run together.
I know, they did.
Yeah.
I know it's the overtime, I don't see the amount. The 230? Okay, I wanted to make sure that was right. The next is for overtime for fire department as part of the project that we talked about during the same time for the ladder. $230,023.75 plus any interest we earn in that fund going forward. We wanted to put that in there because that fund actually earns some interest. So that would go toward overtime for the firefighters.
Great. I will move to authorize the expenditure from the American Rescue Plan Act funds as presented. Do I have a second?
second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
I'm losing my mind. And then lastly, a $50,000 appropriation for maintenance department building restrooms, part of our art project.
For 50,000?
$50,000.
Yep. Okay. All right, I will move to authorize the expenditure from the American Rescue Plan Act funds as presented. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Next, rolling on along, we need to set a special trustee meeting. I know trustee Antonette's not here, but for the budget, for the purposes of going through the budget. So if you guys want to look at your calendar, we can set that date and time. For that Wednesday night.
Did anybody reach out to Antonette's?
Yes, me and Administrator Wise spoke with Trustee Antonette's on Tuesday, I believe, and he said that he would be available anytime next week during the morning hours. Except for Friday.
I'm not, I can do Thursday.
I can't, the only one I can do is Monday.
Yeah, the only
I
one I
have
can do
something every
is-
morning.
Okay.
What are you good with?
I'm available Thursday and Friday, but I'm not available the other days.
I've got availability later in the day, but not morning.
That was really all he said, wasn't it?
You'll get back to us?
Reconvene, yeah, we can reconvene, we can just straw poll you guys. It's not a resolution to set the meeting, we can just coordinate.
He did say that after the Friday date, he is leaving the country
I'm sorry.
until right before Christmas.
So it's
Okay.
got to be next week.
Well, none of us are available at the same time next week.
Yeah, he's gone the 16th through the 23rd, I'm sorry.
Would later in the day work for anyone?
So I know.
I'd be fine with that.
I'm available Thursday and Friday next week, anytime. I can make it work.
I can do afternoon either one of those days.
Can you do like a 1:30
Mhm.
on Thursday?
Mhm.
That sound good?
What about him? Oh, he is good?
Wait, wouldn't you say?
I thought he
think-
said morning.
Morning.
He said mornings? Okay.
Do we want to set this, or do we just want to put out a message after this?
Put out a message and
Yeah.
schedule it later.
Yep,
As long as we have 24 hours in advance notice.
okay,
Yeah, just send him a note and ask him if he can do the 12th at 1:30.
yeah.
Is that the date, 12th?
Yeah.
12th. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we should set it.
Okay. Done with that? Lastly, Donna has told me, maybe you can tell my wife this too, spending stops on December 13th. So we won't be spending any more money. We'll be getting ready to close the books and everything. So everything we asked to be spent prior to that. So just letting everybody know.
Okay,
Cutting it off.
thank
And
you.
that's all I have unless you have anything for me right now.
All right, I will move it over to fire and levy discussion.
Good evening, Board. I just wanted to relay to you a brief update regarding the fire department operations since the levee failure. As I have discussed with, I believe, all of you previously, in an effort to make sure that we can serve as much funding as possible throughout the remainder of 2024. We've taken steps to save as much money as possible, and we've done that in a couple, obviously, by restricting expenditures. One of our biggest items that we pay for out of our budget is overtime to maintain authorized and adequate staffing per day. Typically that, excuse me, would mean that in the instances where we have people off on regular leave time, and then if we had a person on injury leave or FMLA or whatever the case may be, we would pay overtime to fill those shortages in the staffing to maintain what we have been operating for as far as equipment and personnel for quite a few years. We've taken the steps to eliminate virtually all overtime beginning the day after the election. And we will continue that through the end of the year in an attempt to conserve as much funds as we possibly can to carry over into next year. Reduction in staffing does have an effect on our day-to-day operation. And what that means to us ultimately is it's a reduction in how many vehicles we have available to respond to emergencies on a day-to-day basis. What that means is typically, in a normal staffing day, we would have the staff crew that would be assigned to the engine, a crew assigned to the ladder truck, and a crew assigned to the medic, and one battalion chief is assigned to the command battalion chief vehicle. As we drop in staffing, we can't staff all those vehicles adequately. So we then move into what's called a cross-staffing manpower model, which would mean that the crew from the ladder truck becomes cross-manned, and they would also staff the medic vehicle. So if there is a EMS call in the township, they move over to the medic and take the EMS call. But if while they're out on that call, if we get a call that would require normally the engine, the ladder, like say it's just a residential fire alarm, typical response for us would be the engine, the ladder, and the battalion chief. Well, we wouldn't have the ladder truck that would be able to respond to that. So we would have to rely on a mutual aid ladder truck if available to come assist us. So that is the operation that we are in as of now. It varies on day to day depending on personnel on leave, personnel on injury leave, FMLA, et cetera. Since November 6th, we have been unable to respond to 10 emergency responses that we normally would have been able to handle if staffing had been normal of what we had had prior to November 6th. 2 of those incidents since that day have been significant auto accidents in the township that required extensive work by our crews, including extrication in both of these accidents, which means removing people that were pinned in their vehicles. And one of those accidents had a fatality, and that same accident required mutual aid assistance from 4 additional medic units at the scene. In both of those cases, we would have typically sent the engine, and if available, both of our medics and the battalion chief to those auto accidents so that we could have 2 of our medics there immediately to begin patient care of the victims. But in both of those cases, we were only able to respond with the engine, the medic, and the battalion chief. So we were short what we would have normally sent as the second or additional medic coming out of the fire station. So that's where we are with staffing and with overtime. And then the other part that we've taken steps for reduction in expenditures is basically we put a freeze on all spending. Spending has to come through me. And basically spending right now is we will fix the vehicles if they happen to break or need maintenance. We will repair equipment as it breaks or needs, if it's broken beyond repair, we will replace it. And obviously, we will make any needed repairs to the fire station. If something were to break, before the levy, we had a drain line problem that we had to have fixed for several thousands of dollars. We will maintain the maintenance that is necessary to keep the fire station operational and that the folks can live in it day to day. Other than that, all expenditures have been frozen, except on an absolute need to expend funds. This is obviously to conserve as much funding as we can to carry over into next year with the hopes that with what we can carry over from this year into next year, with a greatly reduced budget for next year, we'll carry through 2025, and hopefully there will be enough funding that will carry us into the first quarter of 2026, also along with the hope that we are able to pass a levy next year to ensure continued operations of the fire department. There's actually one that came out today, but I didn't have it before I typed this up. So as of the last appropriations report on November 26th, We were 91% of the way through the year, but we had only expended 75% of our total appropriations. We would hope that this trend continues through the end of the year in hopes that we will have a good carryover fund to begin 2025. And that completes my report on the status of the fire department and its operations and what we're doing to conserve funds to maintain operations to the best of our abilities.
Chief, when you said you're eliminating overtime, is it to the end of this year, end of next year?
We will continue to operate at the reduced funding scale I foresee throughout the year of 2025.
Okay.
Now, we need to conserve money, and it's a large area that we can save money in. And of course, we don't know until the end of the year and what we close out with and what we're able to carry over into 2025. But I think we have to be as physically conservative as possible. The last thing I would want to do is to be expending any funds now or early in next year and be looking at our numbers and realize that we're going to run short and we could have taken other actions now or in the early part of 2025. I think we have to be as physically conservative as we possibly can.
I know that we have a function coming up, the tree lighting at McNamara Park. And if anyone has read the communications that have been put out on Facebook, et cetera, that is an event that is between Genoa Township and the Fire Union 4307. Do I have that right? Okay. That is not being sponsored by the fire department, and there are no dollars being spent from the fire department. So if there's any perception out there that money is being spent in that venue at the same time we're cutting overtime, that is not the case.
That is correct.
I want to be very clear on that.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification.
That's all.
All right,
That's all I have.
thank you. We'll move it over to Human Resources and Donna.
Good evening, trustees. As previously discussed, we had a firefighter deloger brought to our attention that Ohio Revised Code 944 allows for townships to accept prior public service counted when computing vacation leave. And we currently have 2 employees that I'm asking that we accept their full-time hire date. Our first one is firefighter deloger, accept his full-time hire date with Franklin Township as of May 1st, 2008, and Jesse Crook from Delhi Township, his full-time hire date of December the 5th, 2016. I have 3 other firefighters that qualify for this, but we have not received their notification from their prior appointment. So we will bring those to you at another trustee date.
Okay, thank you. I'll move to accept prior public service per ORC Section 9.44, prior public service counted in computing vacation leave for the following. Ronald Delozier, full-time date of May 1st, 2008 from Franklin Township Fire Department, and Jesse Crook, full-time date of December 5th, 2016 from Delhi Township. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
That's all for human resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
Good evening, Board. This evening, I'd like to update the Board on a plan that we started talking about last year. The plan was concerning the location of a library kiosk on our site at this location. Since last year, some investigation was performed by both entities, both township and the library, and it was decided that for legal reasons, we move the kiosk to Freeman Park instead. And so this evening, I have with me, in case you have any questions, I have the Assistant Director of the Westerville Public Library, Kristen Michaels, here if you have any questions. In your packet is a drawing and some locations that Mr. Schaefer has plotted. So if you have any questions about the location at Freeman Park, they are on those photographs, and anything concerning the unit itself, Kristen's here to answer. And you'd like, Kristen could come up and introduce herself.
Yes, that'd be great. And maybe just give us an update, because last time, it's been a while.
Hi, everybody. I am Kristen Michael. I'm the Assistant Director at the Westerville Public Library. It has been a little while since
Yeah.
we talked about this. So we do have a change in location. We also have a change in the unit that we're recommending. When we brought this to you before, there was really only one option. And we've come up with a unit that is, the capacity is 3 times the capacity. It's also expandable. It allows us to have a wider variety of size materials in it because it is customizable. It's also less money, which is great. So it gives us, more dollars to do other things with. Does anybody do you have any questions in particular
No, I
about
just,
it?
it's
One
great.
note, if
Go ahead.
the board could give the library a consensus vote that they're okay with this location, they will experience a great discount on the unit if they can purchase it this year.
Okay,
So I know we talked about this location last year, and there was a consensus at that point.
yes, I'm okay with it,
Great,
yes.
I'm fine with it.
Yep.
great. Then we will order it this year and ideally have it, we'll be looking at a spring installation.
Great.
Excellent.
And thank you for thinking of us.
Glad to do it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kristen.
And thanks for being here.
Very good. Next up, I'd just like to report that the reorg meeting is set for January 7th. It's a Tuesday at 9 a.m. in our building. Also, regular meetings for next year will be on the second Tuesday of the month, starting in February, throughout the year at 6:30 p.m. But I want to ask the board one consideration. November falls on Veterans Day. Can that date be adjusted out of respect for employees who are veterans, move to a different day or week that month?
Are we still holding the third Thursday? Or third Thursday, right?
Yeah, I think we had decided second
Right.
Tuesday we'll hold the third Thursday.
So I would
Okay.
suggest we just
That's
go to
fine.
that. It avoids Veterans Day and Thanksgiving.
Okay, the third Thursday
I'm okay with
or
that.
Tuesday?
No, third Thursday of,
Okay.
Of
November.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you for that consideration.
Sure.
Next up, we have been anxiously awaiting the turning over of the Freeman Farm farm to the Genoa Township. We closed last year on our property transfer on January 31st. So on February 1st, we will get ownership, gain possession of the property. We already have ownership. And so in anticipation of that date, was wondering if there's been any more consideration given on the naming of that parcel, of that property.
I thought we were doing Wise Park.
Wise Park? I'm okay with that.
Well, I think, if I recall, the Parks Committee had come up with several options. I'm thinking maybe we put those out on our Facebook page and let our residents weigh in on that. It's their park.
Or any other thoughts, if the board has any other suggestions also.
The Parks Committee came up with Century Farm, Legacy, Freeman Farm, the Homestead, with the emphasis on the, just like the Ohio State. They thought that the word park shouldn't be part of the name.
How about the farm?
I like the farm. Yeah, it kind of gives a nod to, it is a farm, was a farm. They talked about Legacy Preserve or Legacy Park. But I think if we put these out, we should also be open to if somebody wants to throw out another idea. I don't think we have to be I don't think we should close the ideas, is what I'm saying. If somebody out there has this grandiose idea that nobody's thought of yet, I'm open to that too.
Of course, then you run the risk of, you've listed 5 or 6 options.
Right.
That one comes in, and nobody knows enough to vote on it because
Yeah,
it's not
that's
there.
true, that's true.
Or we could just name it the Legacy Farm. Got both legacy
Yeah,
and
you
farm.
could. You could. Yes,
I don't know if it's capable with the website, if we were gonna put it on the website. But I have seen on polls online like Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever we call it now anyways, where if you wanted to manually put in a suggestion, it automatically gets added to the ability. Now granted, it wouldn't count for the people that already voted, but it would add it in to be seen. That someone could say, oh, I like that one out of all of them, and they could vote on it. Just as a thought.
that'd be a question for our IT director.
But I think Facebook polls allow people to vote as many times as they want.
Mm.
But I don't have a Facebook account.
I'm just saying, if you use.
We'll
that,
vote for you.
what He's saying, do we, what about doing a Survey Monkey to everybody that's on this?
Right.
Listserv with
Yep.
those, and do a vote that way? Because you can put them all out there and they'll come back and say 60%, 40%, whatever.
I don't know.
I don't think SurveyMonkey, I thought was free, but
Yeah, it's free.
yeah. I'm open to a survey.
So I could talk with our communications director
Yes.
about the best method to do a survey.
Yeah,
And a
Okay,
firm deadline, so
definitely,
that we can
yeah.
get this taken
close
care
off.
of.
Yep,
January 7th.
The
all
park
right.
Formerly known as Freeman's Farm.
There you go.
Okay. Next up is another, hopefully the last of many, many easements. This is a temporary easement requested by Delco Water. If anyone has seen the driveway on State Route 3, that driveway was to allow for equipment to enter the property and to put a tap into the water tower across the street, and allow that water line to be run through along State Route 3. So they need one more temporary easement that will allow the Delco to stage their soil from the trench on site and allow them to put the finishing touches to their water line expansion. So I asked the board to approve this temporary easement this evening.
I will move to approve a temporary easement in Genoa Township on the west side of State Route 3, north of Flora Road Park, for water transmission line improvements, and authorize Township Administrator Paul Wise to sign on behalf of the Genoa Township Board of Trustees. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion?
are they going to put all this back to as close to as it was as possible?
Yes,
Because that's a wide opening.
it is.
Yeah,
It
Okay.
is. Yes.
all right.
Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Next up, I wanted to update the board on the enterprise lease program. So to date, the township has leased 4 vehicles from Enterprise. The first vehicle was a Rogue for the police department employees. It's a Nissan. The township office here has a Chevy Equinox, and then 2 Dodge Durangos were delivered recently that were put in operation. So it was a good, it's been good to acquire the vehicles. It was a seamless method to get the vehicles, except for some technicalities that have occurred. For example, the Township Equinox, the deal is we would pay the price of the vehicle and pay down to $1. And then we would pay a monthly maintenance fee also in case something needed done, they would just take care of the issue. So it was decided to pay ahead on the maintenance fees. It put us in a credit position with Enterprise. But every month, they see the $1 bill that we owe, and it generates a late charge. And so every month I have to call them to take the late charge off. And I said, I'm in a credit situation with you. Every month since we took delivery of the vehicle, it's been a difficult administrative process working with them. Secondly, we had 2 of the Dodge Durangos delivered months ago. They were delivered and supposed to be delivered to PAR equipment and have all of the equipment installed in those 2 police vehicles. They were delivered by Enterprise to PAR and never told anyone at PAR that these vehicles were Genoa Townships. The vehicles sat on the lot at PAR's for 3 months without anyone knowing who belonged to them. And finally, I think the chief called and said, where are our cruisers? And that's when, oh, they're at PAR's. Well, no one, it's a very clunky system working with an enterprise. The enterprise is meant for big fleets and where one type of vehicle is purchased, delivered, and then you have your monthly person that maintains the account. He's had numerous issues dealing with accounting also of them. So we're going to discontinue using Enterprise because it takes a lot of time out of staff to start to get these things settled every month and erase late charges and other issues that we've been having. So we're planning to cease the lease product now and pay off the dollar and any other charges that we would have due. So I'm just letting the board know. I hope we have your blessing on that, but it's a good system for big fleets, but for us, it's not working. It's too much trouble for us.
It's too bad.
Yeah. One of the reasons that we went to them was because we were having great difficulty getting vehicles.
Yeah.
Has that kind of subsided a little bit, that we will at least be able to get vehicles?
2 of the vehicles were for administrative use. The other 2 are the Durangos.
It actually, so what they did was they moved us to easier to get vehicles, so we didn't get the Ford Explorer. That's what we've been having the worst time getting. We moved to a Dodge Durango. The Durangos are easy to get with or without an enterprise help. So the answer to your question, yes, ma'am, it is, but it's just because they're getting a more readily accessible vehicles anyway, which anybody can do.
Okay. Thank you.
So with the board's blessing, we will cease the utilizing Enterprise and just do a straight-out buyout when we come to the board. We'll buy those outright in the future. Okay.
Was worth a try.
Yep. Lastly, I've got some good news. The township has been awarded some donations from a very, very generous resident who has passed away. Her name was Barbara A. Murto. This resident passed away, and the estate has been settled, and she has graciously donating to the Police Department K-9 Fund $73,138.90, and also to the Fire EMS Service $73,138.90. So very, very generous gifts, and I ask the board to accept those this evening.
I'll move to graciously accept the following donations from the trust of Barbara A. Murto. $73,138.90 for the Genoa Township Police Department K-9 unit, and $73,138.90 for the Genoa Township Fire Department and EMS Services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. It's a lot of dog food there, Chief. All right.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Paul. I'll move it over to Lauren in maintenance.
Good evening, Board. Got a little bit of discussion this evening for our Parks Advisory Committee. They have been working hard over the past year to get their priorities for us. We also have our chair with us this evening, Molly McHale, to answer any questions and any comments she'd like to add once I present these to you this evening. We have our 3 ongoing priorities that is our year to year that you guys have seen over the past several years. Their new 5-year levy priorities are stated. Would you like me to read them off, or?
I think for the people listening, I think
Okay.
that would be great. Thank you.
Their first goal is to establish and implement a playground replacement schedule. As age and wear dictate, replace most outdated playgrounds with new equipment and include shade structures. They're focusing on McNamara playground replacement, which we actually have. We are very much involved in planning at this very moment. Their second goal they have listed is study the feasibility of stream restoration at Center Green Park. That is also being worked on by Mr. Barnett and myself currently. Their third goal is to coordinate access to Fleur Woods and install hiking trails. Continue to explore that easement access. Their fourth goal is preserve and restore historic township buildings. Should the McNamara barn be restored? Should it be replaced? Should it be demolished? And our township hall that we moved, Station 2 that we moved from Tussock, it is in the progress of restoration as we speak as well. Their fifth goal was to install a natural playground at Center Green Park. And then they have their priorities listed as a committee to establish the trail connection priorities, pursue grants for McNamara playground replacement and the stream restoration, and to access opportunities for newly acquired Freeman Farm. Do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask Molly? Molly, do you have any comments you'd like to add? Do you have anything?
No, it looks good.
Yeah,
They put a lot of work in this.
Yes, a lot of these are having just rolled off the Parks Committee. A lot of this they've been working on for a while, so there's no surprises here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of parks, I'm just going to ask for your permission to delay our shelter and our gazebo rentals just to a little later date. I have some things I'd like to present to the board for our reorganization meeting. So if we could just delay the first of the year rentals for just those 2 specific things, I would appreciate that.
What if somebody wants to run it before our reorg meeting?
We have very few
Okay.
this time of year because of the
Okay.
winter weather, so
Okay.
I don't think it'll really impact us much. But if someone contacts us, I'll obviously work with them.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay, and next I have, I met with our risk management gentleman, and he gave me a few tasks that he would like to see implemented, and one of those was to establish safety and PPE policies for my maintenance department to include the roads, parks, and buildings and grounds employees. I have presented to you, I have went with OSHA standards on the activities that my employees perform. It has been rolled out to my employees in writing. This is something we've been following all along, but we just wanted to put it in writing so that we did have it for us to refer back to. You guys have any questions on any of those? All righty. Then I will move on to ask you to approve a resolution for our purchase order. This is for a UTV that will be used for, this will be plowing our walk paths, which we can't access any longer with our skid steer. We went larger on our skid steer size, so it no longer fits down some of our walk path areas that we used before. The pickup trucks are too wide for them as well. So this will be used to do snow removal on all of our walk paths, as well as when we acquire Freeman Farm property, this will be utilized there as well. I got 4 different quotes, 3 different types of vehicles. I gave you the 2 that was closest in price together to refer to with the John Deere Gator and then the Can-Am, the 2024 Can-Am Defender. The Can-Am Defender was a better bargain for us to do the exact same, so I ask you to approve the purchase order for Valley ATV in the amount of $25,607.90.
I'll move to approve a purchase order to Valley ATV LLC in the amount of $25,607.90 for 2024 Can-Am Defender HD7 DPS. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Lauren, can you tell me what vehicle this is replacing?
This is replacing our 2002 John Deere Gator.
Okay. So, roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Oh, I skipped ahead on our PPE. I skipped over our Valley ATV, so like to ask you to approve that resolution for my safety and PPE policy for the maintenance department.
Okay, I will move to approve a safety personnel protective equipment policy for the Genoa Township Maintenance Parks and Buildings and Grounds Departments as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
And I believe lastly, I have our material bids and bidding for 2025. I'll have a bid for McCoy Paving Concrete. I also have a bid for Shelley Materials, National Lime and Stone, Mid-Ohio Paving, and McCoy Paving as presented to you.
You want me to go ahead and read all those?
You can just read the title as presented.
But she wants me to do them all now. You're not going to, yeah, okay. All right. So I will move to enter into a contract with McCoy Paving Incorporated as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Carries. And I will move to enter into a contract with Mid-Ohio Paving Incorporated, Scioto Materials LLC, and Shelley Materials as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. And I will move to enter into a contract with National Lime and Stone Company Incorporated and Shelley Materials Incorporated as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. Keep going? Okay. I will move to accept the trucking bid results from Mid-Ohio Paving Incorporated at a rate of $115 per hour per price per hour effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. I will move to accept the trucking bid results from McCoy Paving Incorporated at the rate of $113 per hour, price per hour effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. And finally, I will move to accept the paving bid results from McCoy Paving Incorporated at a rate of $10,800 per 8-hour day, price per 8-hour day effective 12 months from date of acceptance with the option of a 12-month extension with approval from both parties. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
I just want to thank Molly and my PAC committee for all the hard work they've done this past year. Look forward to working with them next year on all of our goals, but that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. I'll echo that. Thank you, Molly and Parks Committee. They work hard. All right, next, Joe Schaefer and zoning.
Thank you, Board. Speaking of committees, we actually forgot at the last meeting to ask you when you wanted to open and close the window to accept applications for the annual committee appointments. So since I have two of them, two of the larger ones, I sort of got tasked with this item on the agenda, so I guess we're just looking for when you would like to do that.
I think I saw the appointments are open now,
Yeah,
right?
I
Are
think
they?
we typically, I think, have opened them
Yes.
in November, but I'm not
Yes.
sure we ever established a hard, fast deadline. It's usually around mid-January. I mean, we can just keep that date, or if you want staff to just pick a date, if there isn't a specific date you have in mind, we can do that. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I don't have a preference.
I don't either. I think we were having a discussion on the committees themselves, though. And I want to make sure we're conveying accurate information. So BZA, zoning commission, they're statutory, that's not an issue. I'd like to return to this.
Topic?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean we still want to set a deadline, though, for applications in general? Or do you just want to keep it open for now?
Well, if they're open, they're open.
Yeah.
The deadline is the issue.
Mhm.
And I don't have a problem with zoning and BZA, but I would like to discuss committees a little further.
Keep the
before
other
we-
ones just open-ended for now? Okay. Does,
I'm okay with that.
for the zoning ones, because we usually try to put all the materials together for the February meeting, and that takes a few days to do. Dina's going to help out with that this year. Fridays in January, or the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th, do you want any of those, or the 31st?
I will defer to staff. How long do you think you need? It's,
Since it's Dina's first year doing it, I'm not exactly sure. Leslie was doing it previously. I don't know how much time it was taking Leslie to do it.
really, I feel like the 14th.
Just zoning, it should be
keeps-
easier,
Yeah.
I would think, so.
Feel like around the 14th was kind of whatever
Around-
the closest Friday to the 14th is. I
Yeah,
think
that would
that's
be,
typically where we
the
cut it
closest
off.
Friday to the 14th is the 17th, so we just want to do that?
How about that?
Okay, end of the day on the 17th?
That should give her a couple weeks.
I mean, we always know that if you get one after and it's someone you really,
Right.
it's your process, so you can always amend it however
Right.
you want, but we'd like to at least have a target, so.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving on November 20th, Deputy Zoning Inspector Susan Dorsch provided me written notice that she would be retiring effective January 31st of next year on 2025. Susan has been an employee of Genoa Township in the zoning department since the summer of 2001, including 2 stints as interim zoning inspector. If you live in a house built in the township within the last 20 years or so, there's a good chance Susan wrote the zoning permit for it. Though she is not in attendance this evening, I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank her for her service and dedication to the community over the course of her career. On a personal note, her knowledge and experience were both invaluable to me when I first arrived here in Genoa nearly 10 years ago. It was and still is greatly appreciated. Susan's contributions to the success of this community will live on in the many projects she was a part of, such as Safe Routes to School. It will not be forgotten by me or surely anyone else who has had the pleasure of working with her. I congratulate Susan on a job well done and wish her well in retirement. She has definitely earned it. So with that, I ask for a motion to accept this, regretfully accept this retirement.
I'll move to accept the retirement of Deputy Zoning Inspector Susan Dorsch effective January 31st, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion?
you know, I would just like to share that I've had the opportunity to work very closely with Susan over my time as a trustee and on various committees, and her knowledge will be missed. She just knows so much, and you know, I wish her the best, but she will be missed. So,
Yeah, she's
Likewise.
definitely our unofficial historian here.
Yeah, exactly.
building.
That's, yes, I agree. So good luck, Susan. Roll call?
Gifford?
yes,
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Carries.
Thank you. Final item of business I have for you this evening, pardon me while I shuffle some papers. On Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, the Genoa Township Zoning Commission heard testimony on the subject application, which was a rezoning request for 4461 through 4485 South 03C Highway, which proposes to rezone the subject property covering approximately 25.79 acres from planned residential district to rural residential. Following the close of testimony, the commission deliberated and passed the following: a motion to recommend approval of the rezoning to the trustees by a 5-0 vote. As such, I'm requesting the following this evening. 1, the trustees consider passing a motion that formally acknowledges receipt of this recommendation. I'm recommending that be done this evening. And 2, that the trustees set a public hearing date, including time and place for said application within 30 days of this meeting, as well as a date and time when any revised or supplemental materials for the hearing will need to be submitted to the township, ideally prior to the date we run the ad in the paper. Given the relatively small and simple nature of this application, I'm going to recommend the hearing be put on the board's next regular meeting agenda, which would be Tuesday, January 7th, the 9 a.m. meeting here in the hall, the reorg meeting. Staff also recommends that any revisions or supplemental materials be submitted no later than Friday, December 20th. I have, just if you've done the math, you've probably calculated that's longer than 30 days. Staff has obtained written authorization from the applicant to hold the hearing beyond the ORC mandated 30-day window. That if I didn't include that in your packet, I should have, but I definitely have it in my possession. So again, we need a motion for the acknowledgement and to schedule the public hearing.
You okay with that date? Fine. Okay. All right, I will move that the Board of Trustees acknowledge the recommendation of the Zoning Commission's approval of ZC case number 2024-04, 4461-4485 South Old 3C Highway rezoning. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. And do I just state that the meeting?
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need a motion.
Okay, so we'll have the meeting on January 7th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the Township Hall, and the revised materials will be due to the Zoning Department on Friday, December 20th, 2024 by 4 p.m. All right. Anything else, Joe?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. I will turn it over again to police.
Good evening again, Board. In the packet that Administrator Wise sent out, I believe at the beginning of last week, there was a update with or it was sent out before that. I had sent out a update from the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office for the mutual aid agreement between local law enforcement agents. They've been working on that for, I think, a couple of years. My predecessor was part of most of that update, and then the attorneys have had it for the past year. Looking through it and where I added the marked up version, it looks like primarily the updates are updating some additional entities involved, such as Sunbury, I think CPD, maybe Columbus Watershed, and then cleaning up some of the language to make it a little more concise when talking about what's involved in that mutual aid agreement. Tonight, I just wanted to see if the board had any more questions that I can go back to the county on if there were questions, or to see if Genoa Township wanted to re-enter into that agreement.
I reviewed it. I don't have any questions. I've been working with the prosecutor's office as well for mutual aid for emergency in case of natural disaster or whatever, and a lot of the language was identical to the mutual aid agreement that I'm working on for just townships.
I'm fine with it. It's similar to what we've had in the past. And so I say we continue it.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I'm going to, on our agenda, I'm going to skip the cruiser camera purchase and hit the tuition reimbursement. Officer Fernando Sanchez has requested tuition reimbursement to attend Franklin University. So tonight I'm going to request the board to approve tuition reimbursement for Police Officer Fernando Sanchez to obtain his bachelor's degree from Franklin University per our collective bargaining agreement.
I will move to approve the tuition reimbursement for Police Officer Fernando Sanchez for a bachelor degree in Public Safety Management and Leadership Program from Franklin University per the collective bargaining agreement, Article 15.3 of the OPBA. Reimbursement will be based on final grades. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations, Officer Sanchez.
Thank you, Board, and I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Denman and Motorola.
Okay.
Good evening, Board. In your packets, you'll see a much more detailed explanation of the body camera request, but I am going to hit some of the highlights tonight, and despite what the Chief's saying an hour, I'll make it much, much shorter. I will be covering a lot of information as quickly as I can, just so we have some time for questions. I wanted to take a moment and go over our body camera situation. That's body cameras and in-car, so in the cruiser cameras. Currently, we have Motorola, which is a division of WatchGuard. I'm sorry, WatchGuard that is a division of Motorola. And we have V300 body cameras. I actually have one with me today. And we're using what's called 4RE in-car video cameras for 11 out of our 13 cars. And in the other two, we have the newer model, the 500Ms. So that's our current situation. So the first question is I want to answer is, why do we need to replace these cameras? Some of our body cameras are actually as old as 5 years, and some of these cruiser cameras are actually as old as 8 years. And just like anything with technology, it's changed quite a bit. And these body cameras also have batteries, and for anyone with a cell phone, we know it starts to diminish over time. And these body cameras really, they take a beating over the years with the weather, any kind of use of force, anything like that. And with the new cameras, comes better technology, newer batteries, and the capability of cloud-based storage that I'm going to talk about just a little bit later. I do also want to mention that our cameras, the 4REs in the car and the V300s they're both going to be discontinued moving forward. So we're not going to be able to actually get those anymore. So the next question is, why are we requesting to replace everything at once? So if we were to continue to further piece together our equipment, what we could end up with is a variation of V300s and V700 cameras. We get officers wearing different body cameras, different quality of footage, and different battery length. The other thing is, if we switch to all the camera systems at once, what it does, it opens the door for cloud-based storage. Now, cloud-based storage is going to be an important part of this upgrade because right now what we have is we have a physical server at the police department. All of our footage is downloaded to the physical server and stored at the police department. While that information is backed up, servers do fail. That does happen, and there are security risks. If we do go with the new camera systems, it allows us to actually take the footage and put it into the cloud and be easily distributed for public records requests. One of the big benefits also is it allows us to use the new AI redaction software. Right now, we're getting a good amount of public records requests when it comes to any sort of video footage, and we have to manually go through the videos and redact certain parts of that. Again, with technology that has changed recently, AI redaction has been a big part of WatchGuard's system moving forward, and if we go to the cloud, we actually get the redaction software for free. Right now, it is a complex process where we have to listen to the videos, watch the videos, and then we have to use like a manual video editing software, so it'll drastically reduce the amount of time that we have in that video redaction. Also, if we replace all the cameras at the same time, it puts us on the same warranty schedule. Right now, none of our cameras are under warranty, and that can be problematic, especially when we can't get them anymore. And then also, if we replace all of them at once, it gets us a discount, which I'll talk about just here in a second. So when it came to pricing, we looked at 3 different companies, Axon, WatchGuard, and G-Tech. Those quotes that are a little bit more detailed are in the packets. And really, WatchGuard and Axon, they are the 2 big companies around. For instance, Columbus PD uses Axon, while Franklin County Sheriff's Office uses WatchGuard. G-Tech is another up-and-coming company, so we decided to also take a look at their product. Now, how the pricing typically works is they take the cost of the camera systems and they break it over a 5-year period for a lease agreement. And what this does is it allows a department to pay for it over the period of the 5 years, which cuts down on that initial cost. So when putting these quotes together, I had asked the companies, if we were to purchase it all at once, what type of discount would we get? And what I found is, especially with WatchGuard, it was a significant discount to buy it all at once. So why WatchGuard? Well, WatchGuard offered us a just under $39,000 discount to purchase this year and to purchase all of the cameras at once. And WatchGuard gave us a competitive price, and it's significantly lower than Axon. And while G-Tech did come in under WatchGuard, I don't feel that the discount was significant enough to walk into the unknown. We have WatchGuard. We've got a good working relationship with WatchGuard. WatchGuard is actually here with me tonight to answer any questions that you might have. And WatchGuard has helped us out dramatically, and just a real quick example. Within the past year, our batteries were really dying in our body cameras. WatchGuard got us all new body cameras at no cost to the township and really kept us floating over this past year. So one of the other nice things about WatchGuard, at the end of year 3, WatchGuard will actually come in and take all of our body cameras and replace them with brand new ones. So entering year 4, we will have all new body cameras for all the officers to use. The car cameras will remain the same. And our officers use WatchGuard. They're familiar with it, and that's a big deal. We haven't had any problems as far as cameras malfunctioning or anything like that where we lost footage. And also, we have 2 of the newer models already in the cars, so that's actually 2 less that we would have to purchase from WatchGuard. If we went with one of the other companies, we would actually have to purchase 13 as opposed to 11 cameras. And WatchGuard's cloud storage is unlimited. GTAC has a cloud storage with the AI redaction, but it wasn't unlimited. And for our retention, how we like to keep our videos, we really wanted that unlimited storage. Again, we've had a good working relationship with WatchGuard. They've actually already provided us with new mounts that will fit both our V300s and the V700. So regardless if we decided not to upgrade, that was generous for them to give to us. And I do want to note that WatchGuard, their equipment is on state bid. In conclusion, this puts us on a 5-year program that's worry-free. All the equipment is under warranty. We don't have to worry about it. The licenses are paid for, and we've got the video redaction software that we need to move forward. And we're in the new cloud type of a system, which backs up our video footage. Having body cameras that work and work well is important to the PD. So, do you have any questions for WatchGuard?
Yeah.
Can I ask one question? Is WatchGuard hosting in their cloud?
I'm sorry.
Is WatchGuard
Maybe
hosting
have
in their
WatchGuard come
cloud?
up.
Yep, come on up, sorry. I'd like to introduce Joe T. for WatchGuard.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to, I'm just asking if you're gonna host it, or is it a cloud service that we can still host at the county? If we're hosting with you, is there egress and ingress every time we wanna pull information back? It's usually free to put it in, but there's a cost to bring it out.
You know, great point. So, one, it's not hosted by Motorola and WatchGuard. It's hosted through the Azure GovCloud. Yep, which is fully CGIS compliant, encrypted end-to-end. And you're right, it's a very good question. Data in is usually always free, right? Sometimes it's charged by the volume, but you know, typically that's built into the package. And then the challenge is getting it out. You own this data in its entirety, so there's no cost to bring it out.
Okay. Thank you, sorry.
No, it's a good question.
I don't know if the deputy chief touched on it when he was going through. If we replace them individually, when some of this older equipment breaks, it's about $12,000 to replace a cruiser camera and a little over $6,000 per body camera. And right now, are we down 2 in the last 2 weeks?
Currently, we just had one go down this week. Yes, and I do want to make one more note also. The quotes that are in your packet, that is for the licensing, warranties, video redaction to get essentially the software up and running, but the actual hardware in the car is installed by PAR, so we would be responsible for each car to have it installed.
Do we have any idea what that cost will be?
$750 per car to come to the station to install, to remove the old system and put the new camera system in.
Thank you.
That would be $750 also if we replace one at a time. So $12,000 for the camera plus another $750 to install that. You know, that's the labor on PAR, who's a separate company.
I have a couple questions. Okay, as long as you're in contract, you have it in storage in the cloud. What happens if we decide not to continue the contract? What happens to all the storage?
So what ends up happening is, again, if we go the 5 years, we do own the product, then we would simply have the licensing fee to continue. So again, since we own the product, we'd have the licensing fee, which we do pay regardless of having the cloud. As far as the data storage, again, Joe, can I refer to you?
Yep, so for the data, you got 3 options. One, if you decide to make a different decision or go a different direction at the end of year 5, you can pull that data out as you wish and store it wherever you want.
Okay.
It'll be exported as an MP4 file. You'll lose some of the germane metadata that comes with it without the software, but you'll be able to pull that out individual, the videos out as MP4 files. So that would be option 1. Option 2 is, and typically is not opted in, but it's still offered, is if you want our engineering team to go take it and put it somewhere for you, you can pay to have that done, but go in a different direction, typically that's not opted into. And then the other, which is relatively new, But we have had these conversations with a couple of agencies around the country, and that is because it's in the Azure Gov Cloud, we can just transfer the ownership or the Azure Gov tenancy over to you.
Okay.
And again, just awareness on that, you're still just going to have MP4 files in the Azure Gov Cloud, right? The software is still going to be, you're still going to have to export it to functionally do anything with it. But those are the
We
three
own the
options.
data comments, the most important thing.
100%, yeah.
What happens to, you said you currently have 2 cameras that are newer.
Correct.
What do they have all of these features? Is it gonna be pretty succinct with the new ones that you're getting?
So the two 500Ms that are in the 2 cruisers, those are the newest models, which would be what we put in the new cars. So essentially what would happen is then they would all match.
Yep.
They'd all have 500M in there, and the 2 that we have are cloud ready. So those 2 essentially, or just 2 less we have to buy, they'll be up and running, then all the cars will match. The only thing will be slightly off would be 2 cars would have a little bit less warranty, just because we already own them. Every other car would be under the 5-year warranty, and the body cameras would be under the 5-year warranty. And hopefully what happens at the end of the 5 years is we can reevaluate. Right now, we've got body cameras that are 5 and car cameras that are 8. At the end of the 5 years, we'll have body cameras that are just ending at 2 years and car cameras that are 5 years. So hopefully at that point, we're in a good position where, again, maybe we can get some more life out of those or reevaluate as technology changes, but it gives us some options.
Okay, you would just answered my next question, so thank you. You're reading my mind.
I think customer service is extremely important, and it sounds like you have had good dealings with this company in the past. One of the questions I have is, do you know of other agencies, Deputy Chief and Chief, that have you checked with anyone else that might be using this product and make sure that it's not a one-off?
Correct. Yeah, and actually, I was on the phone with Franklin County Sheriff's Office, one of the guys I had worked with back in the day who now oversees that division. And again, they go with Franklin County, and they had, oh my gosh, the number of the cameras that they had was outrageous. And they're happy with their product. Again, Columbus PD with Axon, does Axon have a great product also? Sure. But again, after speaking with Franklin County, I felt even better about going with WatchGuard once I got off the phone. Again, WatchGuard is the AI software coming out. All the companies, this is all new, right? The AI thing's really blown up in the last year. But the software's got some really, really neat things. And just to kind of provide just a real quick glimpse is right now what we have is we have our front office listen to the camera footage and listen to every part of it. Then they have to go through and make notes, handwritten notes, and then we have to have our IT personnel go through and actually physically edit the software using a manual editor. And again, what the AI software does, which is amazing, it actually transcribes that. And as soon as you click on it, it's going to remove it. Joe was kind enough to actually give me a demonstration of the software. And while it is new and it's a new technology, it's pretty neat what it does. And what it's geared towards is to drastically reduce that amount of time of redactions, because it's about, estimates probably about 4 hours for every hour of footage when you start thinking about watching it, go back and watching it, and then editing it. And then the other problem that we have is it simplifies the process. Right now we have one person who goes through and does our video editing. From the demonstration that Joe had provided me, it's a pretty simple process, and I think it'll open the door for more people being able to actually redact software if for some reason our IT personnel were, let's say, on vacation and we had a critical event that we had to get out.
And I'm assuming that the resolution, the picture resolution is so much better than what we have.
Yeah, and I'll let Joe, because he, again, knows the specifics of the resolution, I'll let you jump in there.
Yeah, so there have been, and that's one of the things that improved from the current camera that's deployed to the new camera. So while you can still record in 1080p, 720, 480, whichever, you opt into whatever resolution you want to record in, the improvements in the new camera have improved the low light levels. So think about light to dark or dark to light, how the human eye responds quickly. So in the old cameras, that was a little bit more software driven, whereas in the new one, because it's a full, if I could hold them up, it's a full 1080p lens that's on it. So it manages the light to dark and dark to light easier. On the existing camera, that's a 4K sensor camera, which everyone thinks, well, you think about televisions, you think, well, 4K is significantly better, right? The challenge with that is you're not using the whole lens on that one, right? So we had to kind of cut off to eliminate fisheye and some of those other things. We had to cut off the sides of it and kind of clip the tops. And because of that, you're not getting the full lens on it. So that was one of the more dramatic improvements on this, is that low light, yep.
Good. Thank you.
I don't have any more questions.
I would offer the board, if you'd like to
Thank
see the
you.
cameras, I brought them in just to take a look at them. There was actually a little bit of a design feature that's kind of nice, and I can show you, bring it up. This button, if you can kind of, on the top, it presses in, it's actually recessed, and it allows the camera to come off. The other design was actually a little bit higher, and what we have found in a couple of our use of forces is that, or response to resistance, during the encounter, the button was pressed. So again, you know, as they got redesigned and got a little bit better, that is actually one of the features that does stand out to me. Even though it seems very insignificant, it does play a factor.
And turning it on would be pretty easy when it's needed.
Absolutely. Again, same design, same button layout. Button on the front, similar design, similar look. Again, because it would be cloud-based software, it would be a different login. But again, our officers have seen WatchGuard for the last 8 so years. They're used to logging in, and a lot of that won't change.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
So I'd request a resolution from the board, if they would be so willing to approve the purchase of these cruiser cameras and body cameras.
Am I doing, we missed one, do I have to do this appropriation first?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I will move to approve the following supplemental appropriation amendment for the police fund from account 2191-910-910-0000 to account 2191-760-740-0000 in the amount of $145,000 for body cam cruisers. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Motion carries. And then I will move to approve a purchase order to Motorola Solutions WatchGuard in the amount of $145,000 for body and cruiser cameras for the police department. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries.
Then the last question for the board, there's some paperwork that we would need to sign when we enter into the agreement with WatchGuard. Would the board like to be the signature on that, or would you like to get permission to Administrator Wise for us to work with him on those signatures?
I'm good with Administrator Wise.
As am I.
That's it, board. Thank you for the approval.
All right, thank you. I think we just have announcements, right? Nobody has anything? Announcements, December 9th, the Zoning Commission, December 14th, tree lighting at McNamara Park. That's at 4 p.m. December 24th and 25th is Christmas, so the offices will be closed. January 1st, New Year's Day, so the offices are closed. And the next regular trustee meeting is Tuesday, January 7th, and that is at 9 a.m. So at this time, I will move to adjourn to executive session at 7:57 p.m. to consider the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. We're now adjourned. All right. I will move to return from executive session to the regular trustee meeting at 8:43 PM. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, motion carries. There is no more business to come before the board, so I will move to adjourn the meeting at 8:43 PM. Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?